two goats. Once upon a time, there were two goats. They were the sons of the king goat, who lived in a beautiful palace and ruled all of the land. One was a champion fighter and a brave warrior. The other was timid and shy, and afraid of his brother who would pick on him. One day, the king told his sons that it was time to move away and build palaces of their own. The big, strong goat built his palace of soft, elegant sandstone. It had many towers and lots of servants. The other goat lived alone in his square, strong castle of granite. One day, a human from Earth was spotted in Goatland. It had a belt with many knives and a white apron. It was a butcher. The human was attracted by the brightness of the strong goat's palace.
"There must be a delicious goat in here,"
thought the butcher.
"What juicy, tender meals they will make."
He reared back and threw a powerful punch that knocked down the palace. He ran in and grabbed every goat he could catch and put them in a sack flung over his back. The butcher then saw a goat lavishly dressed in purple velvet. The goat was quite plump. It was the first brother. The big, strong goat, now fat and lazy, was sprinting to his brother's castle. His brother let him in, and they hid in a secret room in the dungeon. The butcher came and tried to knock the castle down, but the sturdy granite wouldn't budge. Then it got a knife from its belt and hacked down the door, but it couldn't find the goats. Eventually, the butcher gave up and left. The first goat moved in with its brother and lived happily ever after.
The sun was shining on the sea, shining with all his might. He did his very best to make the billows smooth and bright. This was odd because it was the middle of the night.
The moon was shining sulkily because she thought the sun had no business to be there after the day was done. "It's very rude of him," she said, "to come and spoil the fun."
The sea was wet as wet could be. The sand was dry as dry. You could not see a cloud because no cloud was in the sky. No birds were flying overhead. There was no birds to fly.
The walrus and the carpenter were walking close at hand. They wept like anything to see such quantities of sand. If this were only cleared away, they said, it would be grand.
"If 7 maids with 7 mops swept it for half a year, do you suppose," the walrus said, "that they could get it clear?" "I doubt it," said the carpenter, and shed a bitter tear.
"Oh, oysters, come and walk with us," the walrus did beseech. "A pleasant walk, a pleasant talk along the briny beach. We cannot do with more than 4 to give a hand to each."
The eldest oyster looked at him, but never a word he said. The eldest oyster winked his eye and shook his heavy head, meaning to say he did not choose to leave the oyster bed.
But 4 young oysters hurried up, all eager for the treat. Their coats were brushed, their faces washed, their shoes were clean and neat. And this was odd because, they hadn't any feet.
4 other oysters followed them, and yet another 4. And thick and fast they came at last, and more and more and more, all hopping through the frothy waves and scrambling to the shore.
The walrus and the carpenter walked on a mile or so, and then they rested on a rock conveniently low, and all the little oysters stood and waited in a row.
"The time has come," the walrus said, "to talk of many things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings, and why the sea is boiling hot and whether pigs have wings."
"But wait a bit," the oyster cried. before we have our chat, for some of us are out of breath, and all of us are fat." "No hurry," said the carpenter. They thanked him much for that.
"A loaf of bread," the walrus said, "is what we chiefly need. Pepper and vinegar, besides, are very good indeed. Now, if you're ready, oysters dear, we can begin to feed."
"But not on us," the oysters cried, turning a little blue. "After such kindness, that would be a dismal thing to do." "The night is fine," the walrus said. "Do you admire the view?"
"It was so kind of you to come, and you're very nice," the carpenter said, but cut us another slice. "I wish you were not quite so deaf. I had to ask you twice."
"It seems a shame," the walrus said, "to play them such a trick, after we brought them out so far and made them trot so quick." The carpenter said nothing, but the butter spread too thick.
"I weep for you," the walrus said. "I deeply sympathize." With sobs and tears he sorted out those of the largest size, holding his pocket handkerchief before his stringy eyes.
"Oh, oysters," said the carpenter, "you've had a pleasant run. Shall we be trotting home again?" But answer came there none, and this was scarcely odd because they've eaten every one.
Are you constantly running into fences? Do you hate how hard and sharp they are? How they always look so uninviting? Then this is the product for you. Buy Fuzzy Fencing. We've got your back. No more falling into uncomfortable situations. Only fun ones. Call 555-279-3364 and get 50% off your first order today.
Have you ever been sitting alone, reading a book, wishing you had a friend that never got sad, never got angry, and never got on your nerves? Well,
Get your new pet rock on petrock.com for $15.99 today, and whether you're rocking out to your favorite music or you're the queen of the world, you will always have a friend by your side.
Let's go to the beach, each, let's go get a wave. They say what they gonna say. Have a drink, clink, found a Bud Light. Bad like me, it's hard to come by. The Patron, let's go get it down. The sound, yes, I'm in the zone. Is it 2, 3? Leave a good tip. I'ma blow all my money and don't give two. I'm on the floor, I love to dance, so give me more, till I can't stand. Get on the floor, like it's your last chance. If you want more, then here I am. Starships were meant to fly. Hands up and touch the sky. Can't stop 'cause we're so high. Let's do this one more time. Starships were meant to fly. Hands up and touch the sky. Let's do this one last time. Can't stop, we're higher than Jumping my hoop, I own that. And I ain't paying my rent this month, I owe that. But check who you want, I check who you like. Dance all life, there's no end in sight. Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
The Ugly Duckling Remixed by Annika Stadmüller. A small duckling lived with his mother and 5 siblings. However, he was very different from the other ducks. While his brothers and sisters dressed in cute bows and ties, the duckling wore a colorful baseball cap with a golden chain hanging from his neck. While the brothers and sisters talked in a polite and formal voice, he talked in a Boston accent, often using sup instead of hi or hello. His siblings thought he was weird and disliked him. One day, the duckling had had enough. "Oh, I'm tired of all these pygmy ducks and little red bows always telling me to be normal. What do they expect? This is my normal. If they can't deal with it, then I'm just going to have to leave." So the duckling left. He went far from the pond and arrived at a beach. He couldn't stay there, though. The lifeguards were annoyed at him for constantly flirting with the swans who sunbathed there. He eventually got kicked out. He decided to then visit a modern house. It had a nice fireplace where he could warm up, and the people who lived there let him stay under one condition. He had to sweep the leaves off the lawn daily. He got tired of sweeping as it was cold and windy, so he said his goodbyes to the nice family and went to find a different place. Then he found a nice snow park with cool kids like him. They treated him with respect, for he was very good at the jumps on a snowboard. He stayed in the lodge, drinking cider and hot chocolate. Soon, though, the snow began to melt, and he could not stay there, for the lodge was closing for the season. The duckling left with a nice girl he met at the snow park. She was a beautiful llama. They went for a picnic on a nice grassy field with a small lake nearby. The duck and the llama stopped by the lake to smell the flowers. There he saw his reflection. He was astonished to find that he was not a duckling anymore. He was a handsome llama. Wow, I guess my siblings didn't like me because I wasn't even a duck. I was a llama the whole time. The two llamas married and grew old together as cool llamas.
song.